So good afternoon. So after this break, we are joining again. We have our next session, which is a workshop on entrepreneurship skill, attitude, and behavior development. This session will be taken by Dr. Vijeta Banwari, who is Associate Professor in School of Social Sciences. And it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Vijeta Banwari to you. Dr. Vijeta Banwari, as I told you, she is an associate professor of economics in the Indira Gandhi National Open University in the School of Social Sciences. She has more than 13 years of rich teaching and research experience, and she has published various research papers and books, and she has worked very closely with the industry as training and placement officer in her previous organization. Dr. Vijeta Banwari is an innovation ambassador, and she has conducted many sessions on innovation, entrepreneurship, and startups in the university. And she has also an extensive experience of conducting pre-placement training sessions and personality development workshops for the young people. So I welcome you, Dr. Banwari, to this session, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Momita ma'am. It is totally my pleasure to be interacting with our learners. I want to thank NCID, Team NCID, for organizing such an interesting workshop for our learners. And I'm also grateful that you have given me opportunity to take a session on such an important topic, entrepreneurship skill, attitude, and behavior development. I hope all of you can see my screen.
Yes,
You
we
can.
can see. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to start. I want to start today's presentation with a very famous quote. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right. This quote emphasizes how much attitude determines success or failure. Yes, your idea is important. Yes, it is very important to develop proof of concept. And yes, it is very important to develop right protocols and test right protocols. But right attitude along with right skills are the recipe for success. Now, as I could hear in my previous session, all of the attendees today are into advanced level of development. So you already have an idea with you and you are trying to convert it either into a product or you are at proof of concept stage, right? Am I correct? At whatever stage you are, one thing is important, that you still need a lot of skills, whether you are at ideation stage, whether you are at POC stage, or any advanced stage in your journey of creating something. So today's session is well placed in the sense that we are going to talk about a lot of skills that you will have to still work on. Though you might have cleared that first stage of ideation, you have a good idea, you are converting it, but still it is always good to go back into the basics, identify these skills that are required, and check with yourself, do I have all those skills? What else can I do to develop those skills? Now, before I move to my presentation, I think the screen is flickering. Is it for you also, the
Yes, ma'am.
screen that I've shared? Because the
Uh,
earlier screen also,
Excuse
Monica
me.
ma'am had
Yeah.
shared the
Excuse me,
screen.
Dr. Vijeta.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I think there is some issue. The PPT is blinking. Is
Yes, in fact, the one that you shared earlier of the
Yeah.
that was also blinking.
Yes. Is it possible for you to share it again?
Yeah, let me try
Okay.
again.
Thank you. Okay.
Hopefully, it will not flicker now.
Uh,
Else, I'll mail it to you. Maybe you can share it. as well?
It's working fine at the moment.
Okay.
Uh,
Just in case there's a problem, I'll share it. I'll mail it to you. Maybe you can.
Sure, definitely. Thank you.
Okay. So, coming back to the quote that I was reading, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are always right. So, to become successful in life, along with right skills, right attitude is also very important. Today's topic, like I mentioned earlier, also is extremely relevant at all stages of development of your product. Now, before I move to new slides, next slides, further into the topic, let us discuss your perspective about the skills that you think you need to develop. What do you think?
Excuse
What
me,
are those
ma'am. Screen
skills?
is flickering.
Dr. Vijeta, please mail it to me. I'll see from my end.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Please give me a moment. I'll stop sharing. I had stopped sharing. Momita ma'am, I've shared with you.
Sure. Okay.
Please have a look and share the screen. Okay. So, anyways, in the meantime, can somebody tell me what do you think? What are the skills that you need to develop while you're building your product, while you're building your empire on this entrepreneurship journey? What do you think? What are those skills that you might need? Anyone? Poonam? Yes.
आफ्टरनून मैम मैम अभी भी जो भी सेशन पे मैंने जो लर्निंग करी है अभी जो शेयर किया गया है उससे मुझे लगता है आई नीड टू बी मोर ओपन एंड मोर इन द सेंस कि ओपन एंड मोर
Flexible?
flexible and need to have more and more knowledge of the market and the customers need to take more the data surveys I should have market survey I should have तो इन दैट फील्ड आई शुड बी मोर ओपन टू द टॉकिंग टू पीपल्स कि मुझे कहाँ किस लेवल पे जाके अपना प्रोडक्ट किन को टारगेट करना है दिस नॉलेज आई शुड हैव एंड आई शुड स्टार्ट वर्किंग फ्रॉम द राइट नाउ इफ आई वांट टू स्टार्ट माय इनोवेशन और देन 2-3 years इन द फ्यूचर तो मुझे लगता है कि मुझे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा और फोकस होने की ज़रूरत है इस फील्ड में काम करने की ज़रूरत है ताकि
Right.
आगे जाके
राइट, वेरी
इस
वेल सेड। हम इस पे भी आएंगे जैसे हम प्रेजेंटेशन में आगे बढ़ेंगे। मिराली नसीद इज सेइंग टीम बिल्डिंग एंड फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, लर्न टू डेलीगेट टास्क। Dr. Sampath is saying product knowledge, market customers, expectations. Yes, absolutely correct. There is no substitute for knowledge acquisition. Along with that, you will have to acquire skills for acquiring those knowledge. Okay, because for example, if you want to conduct marketing research, you will have to be more analytical. You have to build critical thinking skills to get competitors knowledge, to interact with your customers, to interact with other stakeholders. You need to build networking skills, etc. What else? Yes, you all guys are going in right direction, and today's presentation is just going to align all those things. Yes, communication skills, they are extremely important even at advanced stage of product development. When you are developing your proof of concept, you have to present to the financiers. Your communication skills will play a very important role, because at the end of the day, idea is just inside your head. You have to communicate it to the stakeholders. For getting funds, you will have to convince your financiers. For that, again, you will have to have good communication skills, correct? What else? Other
Uh,
listening,
ma'am,
patience, resilience, correct? Yes, Dilpreet. Dilpreet, you were saying something.
ma'am, amount of knowledge a person who is going in this field in his entrepreneurship stage, the amount of knowledge he has is too much. The skill he need is to execute that knowledge in a precise manner, to take
Dilpreet, we can't hear
person
you.
needs.
Can you repeat the last line you said? We couldn't hear you.
Ma'am, last line I said is the taking precise decisions on precise movements of the knowledge you have till date and collectively applying it which
Yes,
further
correct.
explodes into a big amount of you say innovation, a huge like a great innovation.
Absolutely correct. You might be having the knowledge of whole world of the market as a whole, but you will have to learn how to implement it. Marketing skills. Somebody mentioned finance. I could see backup for finance, Mirali. Yes, in fact, recently I was reading a survey. 90% of the startups fail. Why? Because they don't know how to manage their funds. Okay, so even if you have a very good product, you have a very good market, if you don't have good financial skills, you may hire people, of course. But even when you hire, you still have to build some marketing and financial knowledge so that you are able to implement your things. So today I'm going to give you a comprehensive set from communication to finance to all the skills that you are going to need in your journey of entrepreneurship. Before I venture into that, what do you think? What is the right way to build those skills? Does it come innate? Are you born with those skills? Are people who become entrepreneurs are born with those skills, or can you develop those skills?
Well,
Experiment.
I think we can develop those skills
Yes,
um, by talking to the peoples, by being in the company of such peoples who are in the experts fields, and by reading the books and by getting the knowledge from the peoples or the entrepreneurs who are already in this field. So, surrounding with us with such peoples, we can acquire those skills. In fact, I think I don't have these skills right now, जो हम अभी बात कर रहे हैं. But अगर आप करना चाहते हैं, you are really serious about your innovations, so you should start with the being with such people and reading books and being part of such workshops like we are attending today.
correct. That is one of the ways. Dr. Sampath, my question was that we know a lot of skills we need to develop. How can we develop those skills? Yes, sir. So you want to say something?
Yeah.
Please carry on.
Uh, when an industry or industry is started, the policy of the government is also necessary. The policy of the government, when we are starting an industry, a free land at cheaper rates to establish an industry is necessary also. Next, power supply to the industry. Next, road communication for transport to marketing the goods. Marketing facility for products items is also necessary. Labor availability is appropriate at cheaper rates is also necessary to start
Yes,
an
yes,
industry.
yes, sir, you are absolutely correct. All those things are required, but right now we are just talking about the skills that an entrepreneur needs to build on. The
Yeah.
entrepreneur needs to develop to be successful in his or her venture.
These
So,
are the essentials
talking about
before starting an industry. These are the essential on the part of government also should encourage these skills to the industry.
right. You are absolutely correct. But right
Yeah.
now, in today's session, we are talking from an individual's point of view. The
Okay.
skills that a person, that an entrepreneur will have to work upon in order to be successful. So, Lakshmi is saying manage finances and risk factors involved. Absolutely correct. We will come to that also. In the meantime, Momita ma'am, could you share the PPT? Is it still flickering?
Dr. Vijeta, we have been trying to share, but it's still flickering at our end. We are still trying.
I
So
think
you may like to,
there's some issue with Google Meet, I guess,
possible,
today.
you may like to share again from your end and see if it's
Yeah, sure.
working. Otherwise, we'll try our best.
Sure. Um,
Oh, wait, I think there is a presentation from Dr. Vijeta. Can you stop presenting?
yeah, sure.
Uh, as you can see here, I think Director NCID is presenting. Can anybody? Yeah. Okay, looks pretty stable now.
I think it's on Word, right? PPT is
This is in uh,
Google tool.
Google tool. Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Jyotsna is assisting us in this, and I hope now it is visible.
Yes, now it is visible and it is not flickering also.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Please.
So these are the questions that I just asked you. What are the skills you need to develop? How to develop those skills? In fact, although in all other workshops, all other sessions of this workshop, you are going to talk about how to generate idea, how to convert idea into proof of concept. Today, in this particular session, we are just going to talk about the skills that you will need to convert your idea into proof of concept and how you can build that attitude. Okay. Now, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. So this is the slide on which we are going to concentrate for some time. I'm going to say something and I'm going to ask you also to add to that particular skill. The first thing that we are going to talk about is communication and listening skills. Yes, you heard me correct. Communication and listening skills are very important at each stage of your product development. Now, communication, I understand. What do you think? Why listening skills? Excuse me.
Ma'am, listening skills are as important as you are gaining an information.
Yes, correct, Dilpreet. Communication skills and listening skills, I specifically added this word listening skills because we tend to ignore this aspect of communication. Listening is important, especially when you are going to develop your POC, because ultimately you will have to see what your customers want. What is that will satisfy them? What will give utility to them? Talking from an economics point of view and entrepreneurship point of view, there was this time when product was very important. So everyone used to work on the product, the characteristics of the product. It is still important. But more than your product, what is important? The important thing is what utility it is giving to your customers and clients. So when you're going to develop your POC, you will have to see what gives utility to your customers. So all the new businesses, all the new innovations that are coming in are trying to provide that utility to the people, be it place utility. For example, Amazon. Excuse me. For example, Amazon. They are providing time utility. They are providing place utility. You don't have to go anywhere. Your product will be delivered at home at your convenience. Okay. So one of the skills that you will have to build on is listening, is understanding what your customers want, what is market saying, along with communication. Communication skills are needed at each level. One, you have idea, you have developed idea, you want to communicate it to your stakeholders, you want to talk to financiers, you want to talk to your clients, you want to talk to your customers. You will have to communicate your idea to them the way they will want it. That is why communication skills are extremely important. When I'm talking about communication skills, I'm not just talking about language. I'm not saying कि आपकी इंग्लिश अच्छी होनी चाहिए या आपकी हिंदी अच्छी होनी चाहिए या आपकी कोई रीजनल लैंग्वेज अच्छी होनी चाहिए. जब मैं कम्युनिकेशन की बात कर रही हूँ तो इसका मतलब है कि आप जो अपने थॉट प्रोसेसेस हैं आप उसको कैसे कन्वर्ट कर पा रहे हो लैंग्वेज में या पावरपॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन में या अपने बिजनेस प्रपोजल में या अपनी प्रपोजल प्रेजेंटेशन में या फाइनेंसर्स के लिए रिपोर्ट बनाने में. तो कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स सिर्फ स्पीकिंग स्किल्स नहीं है या सिर्फ राइटिंग स्किल्स नहीं है, लैंग्वेज नहीं है. इसका सिंपल मतलब है हाउ यू आर एबल टू कन्वर्ट योर आइडियाज, योर थॉट्स इनटू द writing or verbal communication so that you can reach your audience. Yes, your conversation should be effective and convincing. See, ultimately, whosoever is your stakeholder, they are listening to you. If you are not able to even convert your idea into right words, trust me, it is going to be very difficult for them to have belief in your product. So you all have to work towards that. How can you build that? How can you build communication and listening skills? Is there any particular way? Is there any particular workshop that you can attend? How to go about it? Yes, Dr. Sampath, listening skills will help us in getting feedback of the product. So yes, when we are talking about listening, we are talking about listening to our stakeholders, listening to our customers, understanding their needs, understanding their expectations from us, from the product, and from the market. So how can you build those communication and listening skills? Of course, attending such workshops is a good idea that can help you, that can motivate you in working in that direction. But along with that, there are a lot of things that you can do. For communication and listening skills, yes, you can conduct a survey so that you get to know what your customers are thinking. Along with that, you can always prior prepare your presentation. It is always a good idea to interact with a lot of other people to build a team which can help you in communicating whatever you want to communicate. Sentimental analysis is also one of the technical tools, yes, Mirali, to get the feedback. Another skill that you're going to require is ability to confront self-doubt. This is one very basic thing that I've observed in all my learners, all the people that I've interact with who are trying to convert their idea into the final product, because you're going to have a lot of obstacles in your way. Sometimes you will have to be your own cheerleader. There is only one thing you have to remember, that there is only one thing that can stop you from achieving your own targets, and that is your own mind. You will have to be your own coach. You will have to be your own cheerleader. So one skill that you will have to build is ability to control your own doubts and confront your self-doubt so that you can navigate the failures and disappointments. In this journey of entrepreneurship, disappointment is not something new. It is definitely going to happen. So when you have to develop your POC, you will have to go a lot of challenges. When in self-doubt, how to control that? I would say when in self-doubt, go for an extensive research. Knowledge will help you understanding yourself more. It will help you in identifying the challenges that your product might have. And again, you'll be able to confront your self-doubt. Is there something that you want to add? Do you think that ability to confront your self-doubt is another important thing that you will have to work on? So sometimes you will have to communicate with yourself. You will have to talk to yourself, and you might have to motivate yourself. Next, in the list of skills that you can see is risk-taking skills. Being able to take calculated and intelligent risk is one of the essential entrepreneur skills that you'll have to learn. Employees with an entrepreneur mindset never shy away from taking risk. And these are the people who become entrepreneurs. So ultimately, you will have to take a calculated risk. You will have to build those skills so that you can take risk. For that also, again, having faith on yourself, becoming your own cheerleader, ability to control self-doubt is going to be something very, very important. Another important skill that you will have to build is networking skills. What do you think? What is networking skill? Anyone wants to add anything to it? What is networking skill, and why do you think you need it in entrepreneurship?
Being able to communicate with and reach out to more number of people, upwards, downwards, uh, people who can support us, and for both knowledge sharing as well as for resources.
Correct. That's correct. You're correct, Saru. Diljit is saying something. To get what you don't have and do need, you have to risk what do you have and do need. Okay. Yes. For that also we need network. What else anyone wants to? Dr. Sampath, you want to say something?
Yeah, networking helps especially in marketing for reaching the product to different people. Today you see more of social media that they use, where you can get to generate a lot of emails and contact them. So this networking and the scientific reason of doing this networking today is that you can reach people who are far away, distant places whom you are not in touch or never seen physically each other. And most important is reference sales also gives about 80% of guaranteed sales than the other methods of doing it. So network sales skills are very very important for especially a marketing guy.
Yes, Dr. Sampath is absolutely correct. Networking skills are absolutely required for marketing. But along with marketing, it is also very important when you are trying to get funds, right? Dr. Reddy wants to say, Mr. Reddy wants to say something. Okay. So along with marketing, yes, when you're trying to get funds for your project, then also networking skills are very important. In fact, when you are trying to build your proof of concept, when you are trying to see whether your product is feasible or not, you're going to need a lot of marketing research. You will have to get into extensive research, talking to professionals, networking with the people who are already in similar kind of business to identify what are the problems they are facing. For that also you will need networking skills. What else? Anyone wants to add anything? Basically, what is networking? It involves like building and managing relationship with other professionals to grow and promote a business. Okay, so marketing, yes, is one. Growing your business is another aspect for which you're going to need networking. Effective networking skills open up future opportunities and help you build a solid brand. Okay, like I mentioned earlier also, when you talk to people who are already in similar kind of business, you get to identify what are the problems that they are facing. Ultimately, when you are checking, when you are creating your POC, when you're planning to launch your product, you have to see whether your product is feasible or not. Not only for marketing and finance, like I mentioned, you you also have to interact with like-minded people, like-minded professionals, because ultimately what you are up to, nobody can do business on their own. You will have to build future teams. You will have to stay updated with the industry trends. You will have to identify what your competitors are doing, what are the new areas where they are venturing into, what are the new areas where they are doing research. So, thus, networking is one of the most desirable skills for entrepreneurs, because through a solid network, you can meet professionals to fund your ideas, to access professional business expertise, and also get a feedback on your new venture or idea. So please remember that when you are building your business, when you are into entrepreneurship, you have to take feedback at each level. And sometimes feedback not only from your customers or not from only from your clients, but also you need to take feedback from other professionals, other experts. That is when you get to have the feedback, what we call 360-degree feedback. Okay. And for all those purposes, you need to build networking skills. Also, when you are executing your idea, okay, into final product, you will need to again interact with a lot of people besides finance and besides other professionals. You need to have to connect with producers. You need to get connected with the suppliers. You need to get connected with the marketing people so that you can build a solid brand. So all of you in your journey, you will have to build networking skills. You will have to identify how you can connect with others, how you can communicate with others. For that also, the skill that we discussed earlier, communication skills, it is going to be extremely important. Okay, so please note it down. Networking skills you will have to build. You have to network. Okay, today's session, is very relevant for one more reason, because whenever we talk about entrepreneurship, most of the time we are talking about idea. Most of the time we are talking about product, which is a very important thing, which is a very good thing. But besides that, these are some skills that you will have to work upon. And although we may be knowing them already, there was a reason. I asked you to list these skills in the starting. There was a reason behind it. because I want to appreciate, I want to highlight the fact that uh, these are the skills. If we sit and think about it, we know everything. We know all the skills that we might have to develop or we need to develop, but we seldom pay them attention. So, such sessions, by attending such sessions, you are revisiting, you are revising those skills, and you're telling yourself again and again that, okay, these are the aspects of my personality, these are the aspects of my being that I will have to work upon. So, one of the problems that I have experienced that people, who want to start their business are facing is that they are shy, they are introvert, and they feel that they are not able to connect with people, they are not able to network with people. So often they ask me that, what should we do, ma'am? We are an introvert person. I'm an introvert person, and I feel hesitant in interacting with others. How to build those skills? Can somebody answer that question? I'm repeating. One of the questions that a student asked me in a session was that I'm an introvert, okay, and I feel hesitant in interacting with people. What should I do? What do you think? What should be the answer?
Ma'am, you should improve your communication and listening skill.
Okay.
By listening more and more, you can able to understand where you are lacking.
Hmm. Okay, yes, you will have to work on your confidence.
Yes,
Start with
ma'am.
online presence, then move to offline world, change mindset, break boundaries. Yes, you are correct, but it is very difficult for an introvert person to open up. So I'll tell you what I suggested, but let me, yes, Saru.
I thought maybe the it has to begin with it has to be a conscious effort. So I don't think anybody else can help a person otherwise, because it could be a psychological issue, or so it has to be a very very conscious effort to speak, and speak without any inhibitions. And maybe there is always a fear of what I'm speaking is right or wrong. So one is to just do away with that inhibition. And I think one another aspect should be the subject knowledge. A person who is knowledgeable may not have much of inhibitions about speaking.
Okay. Uh, well said, Saru. Conscious effort. Ayush, you want to say something?
यस मैम, हमको ये पूछना था कि जैसे अभी ₹10,000 भी नहीं है, और अगर हम कोई कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट या कोई स्टार्टअप शुरू करना चाहें, तो क्या बैंक से लोन लेना पड़ेगा? मतलब शुरुआत कैसे करें? इस बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए हमको।
आयुष, हम इस बात पे आएंगे। इनफैक्ट जो आप वर्कशॉप अटेंड कर रहे हैं, इस वर्कशॉप में पूरा इसी चीज के बारे में बताया जाएगा कि कैसे। लेकिन जो पहला स्टेप है, आइडिएशन है। पहले तो आप एक आइडिया डेवलप करेंगे। अभी जो हमारा सेशन चल रहा है, इसमें आप उन स्किल्स को डेवलप करने के बारे में सोचिए जो आपको करनी पड़ेंगी। मान लीजिए बैंक से भी लोन लेना है, तो आपको एक प्रेजेंटेशन तैयार करनी पड़ेगी, आपको कम्युनिकेट करना पड़ेगा, अपने आइडिया को बताना पड़ेगा। तो सबसे पहले तो आप इन स्किल्स पे वर्क कीजिए। अगर आपके पास पैसे नहीं है तो डेफिनेटली फिर भी स्टार्ट किया जा सकता है, लेकिन उसके लिए पहले आपको थोड़ा सा होमवर्क करना पड़ेगा। ओके, सो चैट बॉक्स में काफी बातचीत चल रही है। मैं वहां से स्टार्ट करना चाहूंगी जहां पे स्वरूप ने एंड किया था। कॉन्शियस एफर्ट। यस, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट स्वरूप। कुछ स्किल्स हैं। इनफैक्ट ये जो मैं आपके साथ इंसिडेंट शेयर कर रही हूँ, उसके पीछे रीजन ये है कि हो सकता है बहुत सारे लोग हो जो ये फील करते हो इस ग्रुप में भी। सो लेट मी टेल यू व्हाट आई सजेस्टेड टू दैट पर्सन। Yes, Sarup, you are correct. It has to be a conscious effort. And if you want to come out of this inhibition of interacting with people, because that is something you'll need for building your networking skill, I suggested him to talk to one unknown person every day for a few days, just to clear out that inhibition and practice whatever presentation that he was making for the financiers. I suggested him to practice it again and again. So sometimes when you practice things, your inhibition, you become confident because you know everything. And talking to stranger anxiety can always be covered by just deciding it, by making a conscious effort that, okay, I'm going to talk to one new person every day. Karibu, you want to say something? You are on.
Yes, ma'am. I want to add something also.
Sorry, you want to say something? Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
please carry on.
What? Okay. My understanding, as an entrepreneur, uh, you need to upgrade yourself. You need to be free-mind person, and you need to understand people how they interact with each other. You need to understand the environmental
Sorry, Karibu,
situation.
your voice is breaking. Your voice is
Okay.
okay. Please carry on. Please repeat once again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What I'm saying is that you need to understand, how to communicate with people, how you can be able to, express yourself throughout the business, and you need to understand the environmental situation. For example, in communication, sometimes maybe you are from India and from Nigeria. The way I will express myself, it will be deeper. So if I have learned communication skill very well, I understand what it means and what will I say to you, what will not provoke you, what will make you understand we are into business, because now I'm a businessman. So I think it will be nice as an entrepreneur. You need to have skills, listening very well, attentively, understand where the business environment is, understand how logic the person you are interacting with is, or understand how the second person you are interacting with, how will be his response, what will be your say after his own words, and that will be very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, Karibu, I could understand completely. Maybe you can write in chat box also. But what I could understood, yes, there are a lot of issues that come across when we are interacting with people from different culture. Because that time we'll have to understand what they are thinking, what their ideology is, what their way of thinking is. Yes, that is also something important. Rest, you can always use chat box to communicate more, right? Okay. Along with that, one more skill that you will have to work on, although they say that it cannot be developed, you're born with it, it's critical thinking skill. What is critical thinking? One is thinking, one is critical thinking. How would you define critical thinking? Ayush.
हाँ हेलो मैम, हमको एक क्वेश्चन पूछना था
Haji.
कि जैसे मान लीजिए हम लोन ले लेते हैं बैंक से 1 लाख 2 लाख या 10 लाख का, तो वो मतलब उस पे जो क्या बोलते हैं कि एक अच्छा पीरियड आने में बिजनेस को कंटिन्यू पे एक ऊंचाई पे ले जाने में कितना साल लग जाता है? मेरा मतलब 1 साल 2 साल 5 साल या फिर कितना साल में वो मतलब ठीक ठाक अपने ट्रैक पे पकड़ लेते हैं बिजनेस?
आयुष, सॉरी डॉक्टर विजेता, आई लाइक टू रिस्पॉन्ड हियर. आयुष, आप इस वक्त इस सेशन में हैं जहाँ पे आपका जो आपके अंदर क्या स्किल्स हैं उसके बारे में बात की जा रही है. अगर इससे अलावा कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप उसको लिख लीजिए और जब सेशन खत्म हो जाए तो आप मैडम से जरूर पूछ लीजिए. ठीक है? थैंक यू. यस डॉक्टर.
Okay. Thank you. So we were talking about creative thinking skills. Sarup, you want to say something?
Ma'am, I think creative
Sorry,
thing,
critical thinking. Critical thinking.
should be maybe to analyze what is right, what is wrong in anything which comes up, and also to dwell on all aspects of a particular issue, on all the aspects. Start thinking not just the go no go, but also on all other aspects on any particular issue. Should be a critical thinking.
Yes, correct. Anyone else?
क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, इफ यू आर, अगर हम अपने बारे में बात करें, एज यू सेड कि समवन इफ इट इज समवन इज इंट्रोवर्ट, इज नॉट एबल टू कम्युनिकेट विद द पीपल, तो उस सेंस में अगर हम बात करें तो देन वी नीड टू एनालाइज आवर सेल्फ अगेन एंड अगेन एवरी टाइम, क्वेश्चनिंग आवर सेल्फ एंड मेकिंग लिस्ट ऑफ आवर मिस्टेक्स एंड वेयर वी आर लैकिंग ऑल दिस थिंग्स, कि हम कहाँ अपने आप को इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, कैसे इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, क्या करना है हमें आगे, एंड व्हाट इन अगर हम अपने प्रोडक्ट की बात करें क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग के लिए, तो हम अपने प्रोडक्ट के बारे में उसको कहाँ से किस लेवल पे और ज़्यादा बेहतर कर सकते हैं, हमारे कस्टमर्स के क्या रिव्यूज़ हैं, हमारे टीम मेंबर्स हमारे बारे में क्या सोचते हैं, या हमारे प्रोडक्ट की क्या मार्केट है, इन सब बारे चीज़ों के बारे में एनालाइज करना, जानना, क्वेश्चंस करना, इसको इम्प्रूव करना, आई थिंक दिस इज़ क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग.
Correct. Lakshmi is saying it's like not putting all the eggs in a basket. Anand is saying analytical mindset is critical thinking. Absolutely correct. You know, while you are developing your POC, I'm assuming that most of you have developed an idea. Okay, Karibu wants to say something. Yes, Karibu.
Yes, critical thinking is using reasoning and deduction or perception of solving problems or understanding how each other communicate or arguments.
Absolutely correct. Problem solving and critical thinking goes hand in hand. It is all about how you are looking at a problem. So, when you're developing your POC, in fact, at whatever stage you are, even at ideation stage, you have a lot of questions to answer. How long will it take to implement the idea? Do you need to outsource any tool or technology to execute the concept? How much cost is it going to take to develop your product? If it is too costly, would it be possible to use it? Yes, just a second, let me complete what I'm saying and then I'll get back to you. Is your idea scalable? Can it generate the required profits? So, all these questions will involve critical thinking, will require critical thinking. What is critical thinking? It is basically problem solving, yes, correct. Besides that, objectively analyzing the information. I wanted to highlight the word objectively. So we are objectively analyzing the information and drawing a rational conclusion. Many times I've observed that people have a biased thinking when they are developing a product, when they are passionate about something, they are somewhere down the line biased towards it. They think that it will work out, but you have to be objective when you are analyzing market, when you're analyzing information. So in psychology we say that something called confirmation bias that people suffer from. Confirmation bias as in with whatever they're thinking they tend to agree to that. Okay, for example, say two people are reading an article about controlling pollution, controlling economic activity to reduce pollution. One person who agrees to that and the other person doesn't agree to it. When they are reading same article, somewhere down the line they will convince their existing idea only. So what I'm trying to say is that people suffer from to be prejudiced or biased towards their own thinking. But critical thinking will require that you objectively analyze the information, objectively study the market. Sometimes your findings may be against your thinking, against your pre existing idea, and you have to still accept it. Why is critical thinking important? Because it will help you to assess a situation in an objective manner and come up with a logical solution. You will have to solve a lot of problems and build a lot of strategies for business growth. So by being a critical thinker, I mean you have to be reflective also, along with being independent and competent in your thinking. Okay, you will have to logically connect idea, you will have to scrutinize information, evaluate argument, find inconsistencies in work, and solve complex issues. Thus, critical thinking will require problem solving skills regarding unknown situations, unexpected situations. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, you'll have to face challenges. For example, somebody might refuse to give you further funding, or maybe sometimes a team member may refuse to work as per the guidelines. But handling such stressful situations will require critical thinking. You will have to find novel solutions to the existing problems that you might have. Okay, so Karibu wants to say something. Let us listen to him and then we'll carry on.
So, sorry, ma. It's mistake.
Okay, all right. Okay, no problem. So I will just focus, just re-emphasize on what I was saying. Critical thinking skill will require you to analyze the information present, analyze the situation present, and come up with alternatives, come up with novel solutions. And that is something you're going to require a lot. So how can you build those critical thinking skills? How can you develop an out-of-box thinking? Okay, Dilpreet is saying, think if there is no box. So one approach is being unbiased. Like I mentioned, that most of us suffer from something which is called confirmation bias. We tend to conform to our ideas, our belief systems. We will have to come out of that. We will have to identify the various opinion and objectively analyze each of the situation to find out best solution to it. Like I mentioned, say a team member refused to work. What will you do? That's a case, that's a problem. You will have to identify situation, solution to it. So you'll have to put your creative thinking skills into work. You will have to identify all the solutions that are possible, all the innovative ideas that are possible to handle that problem and get to it. Right? Creative thinking skills. So, critical thinking skills and creative thinking skills, sometimes people say are very abstract. You can't see them if you have them or not. What do you think? What are creative skills? Why do you think you need to have creativity when you're trying to build your own business? And how can you do that? How can you be creative? Do you think creative and critical thinking skills are related to each other? What if type questions can develop creativity? Okay. In fact, creativity is one underrated skill, but trust me, it is one of the most important skill for innovation, for entrepreneurship. You will have to be creative. Why?
To
Why?
generate more and more and new ideas, you need to be creative. How you can improve yourself or your product.
Correct. Absolutely correct. It is, one of the most sought after entrepreneur skill because it will allow you to see patterns even when there are no patterns and develop innovative solutions, innovative ways to solve business issues. So, like we discussed earlier, also, there are a lot of issues now. We are not working on the product. We have to work on the utility that our product offer to the customer. Okay. So, whenever you are building your product, try to think creatively, try to identify the ways by which you can provide utility to your customer. By doing that, you can definitely be successful because ultimately successful businesses are those who are solving people's problem in the most creative way, right? Like Poonam rightly said that these skills will help you think out of the box and identify solutions where other people cannot see solution. Most of the time people are very hesitant to try new things. Why are they hesitant? Because they can't think that far. And like Lakshmi is rightly saying, to survive in a market for long term, you will have to come up with creative ideas. You will have to come up with low cost creative ideas. Vipul is saying, looking at available resources, if not, find something to get supportive behavior. Sorry, I couldn't understand what you're trying to say, but next skill that I want to discuss with you is customer service skills. We have discussed this, in fact, quite a few number of times in this presentation. Yes, Vipul, you're correct. To look for optimal solution is something which will mean creativity. Yes. So how are creative thinking and critical thinking skills related? Is there any relationship between two? Can you be critical and creative at the same time? In fact, when you are critical about something, that is the background for being creative. Okay, when you are able to see patterns where there are no patterns, you are able to come out with new ideas, new ways to solve problems. And that is what innovation entrepreneurship is all about. Nextly, you will also have to work upon your customer service skills. So many times I've seen that the products are really good, the features of that product are very good, but they still fail in the market. Have you seen that? Have you seen that in market? That some very good products, amazing products, they fail. Everything is there. They have funds, they have finances, product is good, but they fail. Why? Because maybe their customer service skills are not that good enough. So when I'm talking about customer service skills, am I talking about just sales services, after sales services, or is there something else also about customer service skills?
I think it is about the overall experience of the customers from the start to end, actually.
Yes, yes, you're correct. In fact, it is not just about the sales, okay, not just about marketing your product or providing after sales services. It's about identifying their pain points, identifying, like I mentioned, identifying what gives utility to them, identifying how you can improve your idea to serve your customers better. So this is something I want to suggest you, that when you have an idea, I'm assuming that many of you have idea in your mind. Maybe you might be running your own business also, but try to ask yourself once again, how can you improve your idea to serve your customers better? Because by experience I've seen that people are, when they are starting their business, when they are developing a new product, they are so subsumed in that developing that product, they forget the end user. Even if you think that your product is very good enough, and it is going to be extremely successful, I still urge you to ask again, ask yourself again, how you can improve your idea to serve your customers better. So instead of focusing on product, start focusing on your customer. Trust me, it is one good gateway to achieve success. Because yes, that is something people tend to keep in mind, but it is not on priority list. Priority list is still product. And the experience tells me, the market tells me, you go for a market analysis, you will see from Airbnb to Ola, Uber, you will see that the companies that are really successful, they are just working on serving their customer better. One important skill, one important way to build good customer service skills is conduct interviews with your potential users. You can ask them certain details to help you create your product better, like their expectations and negative experiences from related products. So now that you're on building stage, ask them about their experience with other products, maybe in similar market, similar industry, or same industry. Identify what are their negative experiences and try to identify that gap, between existing products and what your customers want. You would like to build your business there. So when you work on your customer service skills along with creative thinking, you will be able to come up with innovative solutions, innovative ideas to serve your customers better. And that is one recipe for success. Next slide, please. Can we have next slide? Yes, Dr. Sampath, you are absolutely correct. Everything evolves from customer needs, including innovation. And here I want to point it out that you have to identify, you have to keep on working on your, a slide before this. There is a slide before this. There is a slide before this, the one that we were discussing. After that, there is one more slide. Okay, so I think there was a gap in the one slide. Please go to the slide that you were on. Please go to slide number 5. Yes. Slide number 5. Yes. This is one slide we skipped. We didn't. Before this, this is 6. Please go to slide 5. Yes. Slide number 5. This is the slide number 5. Please stick to it. Thank you. Okay, these are some of the skills that I was planning to discuss them before that, but because of the slide swap, we couldn't. Confronting self-doubt, we have already talked about. Willingness to experiment comes out of the critical thinking, innovation, etc. But I want to still focus few minutes on willingness to experiment. Okay, now the problem that most entrepreneurs face is that they have some preconceived notions and they want to build their product along those preconceived notions. Those preconceived notions come from the market survey, also comes from observing the business environment, also comes from conducting the SWOT analysis, also maybe pestle analysis also. But as an entrepreneur, you will have to build on your willingness to experiment. That is one starting point to innovation. You have to work in identifying new ways and you have to take that risk to experiment. And of course, when I'm talking about taking risk and whenever I'm talking about experimenting, I'm talking about informed risk, calculated experiment. So what do you mean by calculated experiment? When you have done your market work, market survey enough. One of the technique for market analysis is SWOT analysis. Have you heard of it? Have you heard of SWOT analysis? Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So when you are trying to experiment, when you are trying to identify new solutions to the problems, going for SWOT analysis, identify what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Okay, you have to keep those weaknesses in mind. What are the opportunities which are there in market? What are the opportunities that you can tap in with your customers? What are the things that they are not satisfied with? Sorry, in present market situation. Okay, when you do that, when you identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and then you can go in for experimentation or taking risk. Accountability and leadership. Yes, you will have to build on those skills as well, along with product development, along with marketing skills. In the starting, I mentioned that 90% of the startups fail in India, majorly because they don't know how to manage their funds. Mainly, they don't know how to manage their people. So funds, managing people, identifying customer needs are few top reasons why startups fail, even if they have a good start. So you will have to build your leadership skills. What do you mean by leadership skills? See, you can't run a business alone. You will have to identify. You will have to accept that. You will have to, yes, Mirali, to get the work done. Absolutely correct. Ultimately, see, you can't run your business on your own. You can't start a new product on your own. You will need to have a team of people. But many times what happens is goals of those people in that team are not aligned. Everyone has a different goal. You will have to be able to inspire your colleagues. You will have to empower your workforce. You will have to lead from the front, and thus you will require excellent leadership skills. Even if you are a critical thinker, problem solver, you know your customers really well, if you don't have good leadership skills, you will not be able to run your business. So while you're building on your team of people, while you're networking with people, I suggest you to work on yourself also. How you can motivate people, how you can lead by example, how you can have a leadership role, but same time be a part of a team. Okay, because you will have to motivate your employees, you will have to manage your operations, you will have to delegate your task in order to reach your business goals. So, one good way of becoming a good leader is that leading from the front, of course, but at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you will have to be part of the team, someone who is working along with leading others. So, please start building on your leadership skills, start thinking about taking leadership role when you are trying to convert your idea into actual business. Okay, so like I'm just repeating myself, along with other skills, your leadership skills are very important because ultimately, as an entrepreneur, you are accountable.
Excuse me, Dr. Vijeta. We have 15 minutes more left. Thank you.
Sure. I'll continue for 7 more minutes and then I'll take up the questions. Sure. Okay. Financial skills. The ability to handle resources, assess investment, calculating ROI is also very important for entrepreneurs. You will have to understand how to use accounting and budgeting software to keep track of all your financial processes. When you are trying to enter into business, when you're trying to have a startup, you will have to avoid overspending and optimally you'll have to allocate your resources. You might have to bootstrap also for some time, but financial skills are something you will also have to build before getting into actual business. So even you may hire people, you may have a team for managing your financial operations, but even then you will have to work upon your financial skills as well. Another very underrated skill is time management and organizational skills. So, usually we talk about products, we talk about creating new products, but we forget to talk about time management along with resilience. So, let me first talk about time management. Time management is very important as an entrepreneur because it will not only help you increasing your productivity, but it will also help you to prioritize your task. Okay, you will have to ensure timely completion of your projects. When you are starting your business, when you are converting your idea into actual work, you will have to analyze your team's time. You will have to set time limit for each task. You will have to identify priority task first. You will have to delegate, identify what works to delegate to different people. You will have to create a to-do list, and you will have to use technology to keep your workspace organized. Like I mentioned, time management skills are very underrated, but as a business person, when you are actually getting into business, when you're actually converting your idea into business, you will have to work on time management along with resilience. Resiliency is very important. Why? What do you think? What is resilience? Why is it important? Anyone? Why is it important for an entrepreneur to be resilient? See, you will have to also be flexible. Yes, to have a balance, to be flexible, situations may change. You will have to adapt to the changing. You will have to adapt to the changing situations also. Uh, Technical skills. Of course, this is one thing that all of us know. When you are ideating, when you are creating the product idea or the project idea, you know that you will have to work on certain technical skills. What are those technical skills? Well, that will depend upon your product or your business. Along with technical skills pertaining to your product, you will still have to work on some planning, marketing, and budgeting softwares. There are a lot of softwares that can help you plan, market, and budget your product better. So, all these knowledge of all these softwares will also help you in managing your project, in tracking your sales, and allocating a viable budget for your project. See, this workshop is about converting your idea into POC. When you are converting your idea into POC, you will have to see if your product or project is viable or not. For viability, you will still need to have knowledge of some softwares that can help you prepare a viable budget for your project. Now, next thing that I want to talk is, please move to next slide number 7. One of the ways that you can build all those skills is attending these workshops. Along with that, one thing that I will suggest you is building a design thinking. Design thinking approach is very popular in the field of entrepreneurship. When we are trying to start our own businesses, establish our own businesses, it is suggested that have a design thinking approach, which will help you in preparing your project in the best possible manner. What is design thinking? Design thinking, number one, is not non-linear. So, often we list down the steps that we have to complete in order to run a business. Identify the idea, identify the project, do a feasibility study, conduct a marketing analysis, etc., etc. Design thinking asks you to be non-linear in your approach. Keep on challenging your assumptions, keep on redefining your problems, and keep on creating innovative solutions to prototype and test. Okay, so stage 1 in design thinking is emphasize. Research your users' needs. Although we have talked about all those things in our discussion in past 1 hour, let us spend few minutes on this before I can get to question answers. You will have to research your user needs. You will have to emphasize, empathize, and identify what your customer want. After that, you will have to define and those needs, user needs and problems, because ultimately the solution that you're going to build, the product that you're going to develop has to be based on users' needs. Ideate, challenge assumptions, and create ideas. When you are ideating, I am assuming that many of you have already ideated, or many of you already have ideas about your businesses, but still it is always a good idea to keep on revisiting them, keep on challenging the assumptions that you have. Prototype, start to create solutions, test, try your solutions out. And while you're following this design thinking approach, keep all the skills that we have discussed today in your mind. I will just 2 minutes recap what we did today so that we can move on to questions. Today's session was very basic, yet very important in your journey of entrepreneurship, irrespective of the stage that you are in. Even if you are at ideation stage or product development stage or testing your prototype stage, it is always a good idea to identify the skills that you have to build on, or identify those skills that to check whether you have those skills or not. Okay, so we talked about accountability and leadership skills, we talked about time management skills, we talked about business management and financial skills, we talked about some technical skills to develop, we talked about communication and listening skills and why are they so important at each stage of business. We also talked about critical thinking skills and how you can be critical about the situation, the environment around you. We also talked about risk-taking skills. We talked about how important it is to be creative in your ideas and come up with innovative solutions to capture market. We also talked about networking skills, how they are important to build a good business, how it is important to collaborate with other professionals in the field, other producers, other suppliers, or customers of the product. We also talked about customer service skills and why they are important. Briefly, we talked about design thinking approach and the steps that are there in design thinking, and we appreciated the fact that all the skills that we learned today, we discussed today, are very important in each stage of design thinking. Okay, So that was from my side. You can ask questions that you may have. Yes, please. Do you have any questions that you want to ask in today's session? One thing I want to appreciate all of you is that you participated well. I could read your in-call messages also. In fact, in the meantime, while I was asking questions, you also responded well. So congratulations. I'm very happy with that.
Thank you, Dr. Vijeta, for that really, really informative session. In fact, I think our participants, our students here are highly benefited from your talk today. They have learned a lot, judging from the comments that we are seeing here in the chat box. So I think their takeaway is quite good, and I think they will improve upon their skills after this session. So let us wind this session today. I think they do not have any questions. I am not seeing any raised hands. Does anybody have any questions?
I can see a question in chat box.
Okay, please. Yeah.
So Vipul is asking, when we speak about creative thinking, what should criteria to analyze? Okay, so coming back to what creative thinking is, it is identifying all the possible solutions and thinking out of the box, which is possible. So the way of doing that is just list all the options that are possible to solve any particular solution and see the most optimal solution from that. That is how you can do it, if I've understood your question right. You want to ask anything, Vipul?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your reply. Ma'am, I just want to know that as you told, critical thinking is an important part. What about skills management? How can we understand that these skills that we have achieved are more than enough or much more is needed to work on? What should be the criteria to analyze them? I just want to know the criteria. See that
Okay.
if I'm
I
able to do this or not. Yeah.
I understood your question, Vipul. Vipul, there is no particular criteria to identify if you have developed those skills or not. It's just you have to keep on asking yourself that how I can still improve, because there is never a limit to improvement. There's never a limit to learning. You can still keep on working in that direction to improve your critical thinking, creative skills. Just keep on thinking about the new possible. One important one way of doing that is always list the alternatives. Always list down the options. Try to gather as much options as possible, as much alternatives as possible. So my answer is there is no fixed criteria. You have to keep on growing. Okay. And there is no end to learning. Yes,
Is
Mohammed.
there anybody else who wants to ask a question? Okay, so if we do not have any other questions, let us end the session. So I wish to thank Dr. Vijeta Banwari for sparing her valuable time to take this session. And I hope that you would be associated with us in our future endeavors also. So thank you so much. And I would request our participants to join tomorrow morning for the final day of this training program. So hope to see you tomorrow. So bye for now.